Yes. So as I was saying, guys, my recommendations, my comments on your evidences, it's an audio, okay? It's a recording. So please, you log in and check them out because I'm telling you guys what to do. If you need to do it again, I'm telling you guys what are the recommendations in the audio, in the recording, okay? So please check them out. No es que no les haya escrito nada, sí, sí lo hice. Of course I did, pero está en audio, okay? Good. Okay, if no one else has questions, let's start. So let's start today. We are going to talk about no. Sorry. I'm going to share my screen. So today we start unit learning activity number 2. Yeah, we started learning activity number 2. We finished the one yesterday. Let's start checking on the schedule. The schedule. Good morning. The schedule. So today we officially start unit number 2. We're learning activity number 2, right? We start this today. And it doesn't mean like from the evidences from this activity learning activity number 1. Yes, you can send them, but it will be graded over 80. All right, not over 100, over 80. So please be careful with that. And then we have until October the 10th to send and turn in these activities, okay? These evidences. If you guys have questions, please, yes or no.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yesterday I sent the last evidence for activity 1.
Yeah. What time?
I believe it was, I don't know, around 7.
Okay.
7 at night.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, like if I think the platform allows to send evidences until 11:30. If you send information before 11:30 p.m., yeah, no problem.
Okay.
No problem. Okay. So I think I'll grade them, well, today or tomorrow, okay? Because I have to work on my online sessions today. So you're welcome. So this is the information, guys, and this is the schedule, right, for this learning activity number 2. It starts today and it finishes, says, on October the 10th, next Monday, right? Siguiente lunes. So please be careful with it. You have to keep in mind those dates in order not to get lost, all right? So let's go to unit number 2, which is very interesting. We're going to talk about phrasal verbs, right? Which is like the only grammarly topic, but it's not like, we just have to understand some concepts about phrasal verbs. Yeah, so to go to the materials, we start not support materials. No, it's not support materials. Or is it? No. Material home sweet home. All right, material home sweet home. Then we go for the download material, which is this one right here. Sorry, this one right here. Right? I don't do any like presentations to present these guys because I only talk about the information we have in the support material, which is like the most important one. So if we have it here, why to do it again, right? So attention here, it says that the topics related to learning activity number 2 are phrasal verbs, right? Phrasal verbs, furniture, and idiomatic expressions, right? So these are the 3 topics that we are supposed to review this week. Okay, so I'm just telling you here a little bit of information, like a guide for you guys to start doing it by yourselves, right? So let's start with phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are very interesting verbs or expressions, porque no son solo verbos, right? They are not just only verbs. They always go with a preposition. All right. I got an extra guide here for you, pues porque phrasal verbs is like, it's like super important. It's like a super important topic in English, right? That you guys need to know, that you guys need to learn, that you guys need to go deeper from the information that we guys have on here at the material, right? So I got this information here, which is like pretty interesting. It's like a very long kind of guide about phrasal verbs, like how does it works, right? We have some extra examples here, right? And I want you to guys have it. So I'm going to send a link here in the chat for you guys to check on it, like interact it, learning deeper, all right? So what are phrasal verbs? What are phrasal verbs? So what is the information? Sabemos que, ya les dije que a phrasal verb, it's a compound. It's composed by a verb and a preposition. Sometimes it's a preposition, sometimes it's an adverb. Okay, a veces es una preposición y a veces es un adverbio. Right? Sometimes it's a preposition or sometimes it's an adverb, but it's always a verb, right? Siempre. Siempre es un verbo. And it's composed in two sections. Tiene dos partes, right? The verb, for example, we have this phrasal verb here, which is get up, right? So it is get and up, right? Tiene dos partes, all right? The phrasal verbs has only two parts. Sorry. My pet is around. So you guys know that if we change the preposition to the verb, change the meaning completely, right? For example, tenemos el verbo get, right? Get, si va acompañado de up, significa levantarse, right? It means levantarse. Now, if you change the preposition for down, example, get down, it's to feel depressed, right? If you feel down, okay? So that is a phrasal verb. It's a verb plus an adverb or a preposition. La mayoría de las veces es una preposición, okay? So that is a phrasal verb. A verb and a preposition que cambia completamente el significado del verbo según la preposición a la que vaya a acompañar. Guys, phrasal verbs, well, if you guys have ever been in the States or have ever talked to a foreigner or a native speaker, you guys will notice that they use phrasal verbs for everything. Like if you watch the news on BBC or whatever, you notice that they have the phrasal verbs for everything. Okay, they have phrasal verbs for everything. Now, the bad part, the sad part of it is that you never, like, if this verb goes with this preposition, so it means this. No. That's the sad part. I mean, you have to learn it by heart. It's the same as the regular verbs in past, right? You never know if it's regular or irregular. The only way to know is just to learn. Yeah, so that's why I gave this extra guide for you guys to practice it, to see them, to kind of know what's going on those phrasal verbs, right? Now, we have two types of phrasal verbs. Están divididos en dos categorías. Y esas categorías pues tienen como unas cositas para tener en cuenta, right? Just to take into account. That we have Intransitive and transitive verbs. All right? We have intransitive and transitive verbs. Están como divididos los phrasal verbs en esos dos, ¿ok? ¿Qué sucede? ¿Cuáles son los intransitivos? Es importante entenderlo. Why? I'm going to tell you why. So, intransitive verbs significan that they need, in order to understand what an intransitive verb is, you need to remember what a subject and an object are, right? ¿Cuál es el subject? La persona que ejecuta la acción, the person that performs the action, and the object, which is pizza, right? So we need subject to understand the subject, the verb, and an object. So what are the intransitive verbs? The intransitive verbs here doesn't need to be followed by an object, right? An intransitive verb doesn't need to be followed by an object. Bueno, ¿y qué es esto? Right? ¿Qué significa esto? For example, an intransitive verb no necesita un objeto. For example, wake up. Pat woke up early. Pat woke up early. No necesitamos un objeto. Right? No necesitamos un objeto. Voy a dar el ejemplo de los transitivos para que me digan, ahora sí, ok, ya entendí cuáles son los que sí necesitan un objeto. For example, the verb buy. Buy necesita un objeto, right? Como para que la frase, for the sentence to have meaning, to make sense, all right? So, for example, she bought. No podemos decir she bought. Como el verbo wake up. Simplemente, Sarah wake up early today. ¿Ya? Pero el verbo comprar, buy, no podemos decir she bought. She bought what? La frase queda sin sentido. O sea, por ejemplo, el verbo buy necesita un objeto, right? Necesita un objeto. Ahora sí, hay algunos verbos que no necesitan objeto y otros sí. Entonces, los intransitive does not need an object and the transitive need an object to have sense, to make sense, right? ¿Vamos bien ahí? ¿Vamos bien ahí? Igual, guys.
Yes.
Let's say, okay, good. Thank you, Carlos. What's the thing? We don't need to actually know this little stuff. We do, right? But after we get the concept, we don't need to remember all these little things, right? Like after we understand how phrasal words work, we don't need to remember all the time, hey, this is transitive or this is intransitive. Of course not. I mean, language doesn't work like this. You know, you guys know that in Spanish or to learn a new language, we don't have to remember, this is present, this is past. No, never, right? But it's important to understand at the beginning of these topics when we are learning, but then it just goes mechanic, right? So, vamos en qué son transitivos e intransitivos. Los intransitivos no necesitan objeto. Los transitivos, como el verbo comprar, necesitan un objeto, right? Porque, pues, sin she bought, o sea, tenemos la frase she bought, but it doesn't make sense. I mean, you have to complete with an object. She bought an article. She bought a car. She bought, right? To make sense. Now, aquí hay unos ejemplos sobre intransitive. It says, handy in es un phrasal verb que es intransitivo, no necesita objeto. So, Nicole handed in her proposal.
Pero qué pena, una pregunta, qué pena. Los transitivos son los que necesitan objeto, ¿cierto? O los que no necesitan.
Transitivos son los que necesitan objeto. Miren, acá está, transitive verb, buy. Necesitan objeto.
Okay, Jace. Thank you, teacher.
You're welcome. So, aquí están entonces los intransitivos. Hay algunos phrasal verbs como hand in, right? Hand in, que es entregar. Hand sola es hand. Hand as a verb. Como pasar, ¿cierto? Pasar algo. Pasar. O sea, como esta acción. Right, to hand. Y handing es entregarle, por ejemplo, to hand in my homework to the teacher. I need to hand in to the teacher the exam. Okay? O the teacher cuando pide el examen, please hand in your exams. Okay? This is handing. Look for. I'm looking for. Look for. Look es mirar. Look for es buscar. Entonces, I'm looking for my pipe. Okay? That's another phrasal verb. Look for. Now, attention. Atención aquí. Y esta es la razón del por qué es importante de pronto reconocer what is transitive and what is intransitive. ¿Por qué? Atención aquí. If a phrasal verb is transitive significa que necesita objeto. It can either be separable or inseparable. La mala noticia es que algunos phrasal verbs, we can separate them. Se pueden separar. Unos se pueden separar, otros no se pueden separar. Okay, so for example, separable phrasal verbs. The object goes either after the particle or between the verb and the particle. Okay, so it says, turn in. Jim turned the homework in. You see? ¿Sí ven? Entonces tenemos turning, que significa entregar. Y se puede separar. So Jim turned the homework in. Transitivo, porque es que turn, señora.
Pero ahí no había frase, ¿cierto?
Señora.
No había frase en esa oración.
Claro que sí, mira. El phrasal verb es turn in. ¿Sí?
Thank you, teacher.
Entonces, turn in es transitivo porque necesita objeto. Turn in what? Entregar qué. Right? Entonces, cuando es transitivo, a veces se puede separar y a veces podemos poner el objeto dentro del phrasal verb. So, Jim turned the homework in. You see? Se separó y va en medio de los dos.
Teacher,
Yes.
Es que me quedé pensando en el ejemplo de arriba. Nicole handed in her proposal. So the object is her proposal, but it can be without the object because it is intransitive.
It is intransitive. Dice handing, Nicole handed in her proposal object, her proposal. Hand in.
O sea que puede ser Nicole handing. Hasta ahí.
No, it needs an object. O sea, no podemos dejar handing. ¿Será que está? Dice intransitive phrasal verbs. I'm looking for my pipe.
Ajá, y en el otro también.
Complemento. Ya, entiendo. Estamos viendo, yo creo que se equivocaron acá. Porque mira, I'm looking for what? No puede ir sin verbo. No puede ir sin objeto, perdón. I'm looking for my pipe, of course. No podemos decir, I'm looking for. Looking for what? You're looking for your pipe. So maybe, yeah. Como aquí estamos viendo los transitivos, yo creo que aquí hay un pequeño error aquí con los transitivos, perdón. Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for that. And it happens. Like if you are an old student from English that works, I'm sorry for that. You guys know that these kind of things happen all the time. Yeah, so I have to report those mistakes. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to write it down here so I can report. We have an email, teachers. We have an email to report these mistakes. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense because we're talking about transitive. It doesn't make sense to have examples with intransitive verbs, phrasal verbs that we have up here, right? But yeah, let's just don't get confused about that. Okay, just don't get confused about that. It doesn't, I mean, I'm telling you this, why? Because as I was saying, it's important to have these concepts in mind at the moment of learning. Once you learn that, cuando ya saben, it just goes mechanic, all right? It just keeps moving. Now, we are talking about separable and inseparable, okay? Ya. Hay unos phrasal verbs que se pueden separar y otros que no. Punto. So, turn in, it's separable. Jim turned the homework in. Yeah? June turned the homework in. Jim. Or Jean turned in the homework. Cualquiera de los dos. ¿Ok? Está bien. Que si se pueda separar no quiere decir que siempre se va a separar. No. Si usted lo quiere hacer, it's okay. If you don't, it's okay. So, for example, take off. Take off, quitarse. Right? Quitarse. You take off your shoes, take off your glasses, right? So, take her glasses off. Or she took off her glasses, right? Of course, the verbs can be in present, in past, or it can have ing, right? So it changes depending on what you want to say, okay? Ahora, aquí, if you use a direct pronoun, object pronoun, ¿cuáles son los objetos? The object, direct object pronoun, que son me, you, him, her, it, us, and them. Es importante que se use de esta forma. Okay, Jim turned it in. She took them off. All right. Incorrecto es decir, Jim turned in it. Yes. And I took off them. Suena rarísimo, right? So if you are using a direct object pronoun, tiene que ir de esa forma. All right? But I don't want to get you guys confused, because this can be a little bit confusing. But as always, I always say to my students, please keep practicing, keep working on it, and this kind of stuff will get easier, and your brain will get used to it easier. Okay? Now, inseparable. ¿Cuándo sabemos si es separable o no separable? No lo sabremos, guys. We just need to learn them by heart. Okay? Inseparables, inseparables. The object must go after the particle. So, bump into. She bumped into an old friend. Bumped into es como encontrarse. Encontró. She bumped into an old friend and look at. So, I spent hours looking at the painting. Okay? Now, aquí se les da un linkcito súper chévere para un diccionario Macmillan que se los voy a pasar. De phrasal verbs que tienen phrasal verbs, right? Ahí explican si es transitivo o es intransitivo. Recuerden que si es intransitivo necesita objeto. ¿Dónde vamos? Jesus. Okay. Okay. Creo que se cerró. Bueno, no problem. So, por favor, revisen el material que les estoy enviando de Macmillan. The information here about phrasal verbs, right? Los transitivos, los intransitivos, right? If you checked on the dictionary for a phrasal verb, they're going to tell you if it's transitive or if it is intransitive, but did you guys know what transitive and intransitive means, okay? They're also gonna tell you if it is separable or inseparable. Okay, but that's the only way to know how it works. Some useful phrasal verbs. Acá obviamente hay unos phrasal verbs que son más comunes que otros, right? And as I was saying, check them out. Here, you have a phrasal verb with a preposition or an adverb. Yeah, so aquí están los más comunes, muchos más comunes, right? Lo difícil es que ellos cambian de meaning completamente depending on the preposition, right? So to put on, to take off, to turn on, to turn off, to pick up, to drop off, to dress up, to get along with, right? Get along with. Here you have the meaning and the example, okay? To throw away, to settle in, to move into, to pack up, to give something away, or to give away something. Okay, se puede las dos formas. To put away, to get back, to put off, to hang up, to count on, to wear out, to get rid of, to keep out, to break down, to give up, to look after, to stop by, to carry out, to cheer up, to break into. Ok, y eso no es ni el 1%, no es ni el 1% de los phrasal verbs, guys. It doesn't mean like, teacher, so it means I have to learn all the phrasal verbs to understand English. Of course not. Never like me. I don't understand like 100% of the phrasal verbs that in an article or even watching the news, right? But it doesn't mean I wouldn't get the meaning, or I would get lost, or I wouldn't understand. Of course not, guys. No se estresen, no se preocupen, right? Obviamente sí hay que conocer los básicos, los importantes, are the ones that we use every day, right? For example, to get up, to get dressed, dress up, yeah. Cheer up is to be happy, right? To stop by is visitar. To stop by is to buy my sister's house. Yo para ir a visitar a mi hermana, right? To break down, so stop functioning. Yeah, hay unos que sí usamos every day, and those are the ones I'm recommending you guys to learn by heart, okay? But if you
Teacher,
don't...
una question.
Yes.
This material do you say into the evidence or it's in the supporting material?
This isn't the support material.
Okay. Yes.
This is the material that you are supposed to be studying para aprender, right? This is the material to learn, okay? Ya vamos a ver las evidencias.
Okay, teacher, thank you.
You're welcome. Now, the next topic is furniture, which is it's vocabulary. It's 100% vocabulary, right? But it's very specific, which I really like because it's in the living room, right? So what are the objects that you guys find in the living room? And it's a long list. So ceiling fan, right? Son los diferentes. No, que sofa, bueno, también está, pero también hay un vocabulario very interesting, like it goes in the details, like the weird ones, los que uno normalmente no aprende en los niveles anteriores, right? So ceiling fan, ceiling, wall frame painting, vase, fireplace, fire log, banister, staircase, right? Es mucho vocabulario, pero vocabulario nuevo, like different, all right? So it has sections. It has the living room, right? It has the bedroom, which has a lot of different vocabulary, right? Like hanger, closet, jewelry, mirror, comb, right? Bureau, curtain, rug, right? It's a lot of information that you guys need to practice, right? If you can print these PDFs, right? This is en PDF. Recuerden que igual también está el material multimedia, which is interesting too. But my recommendation always is to download the PDF because there you have somewhere to write. To learn a new language, it's important to write it, okay? No sean perezosos, escriban, rayen all the time. go for your dictionary and look for the unknown vocabulary. Write it in front, escríbelo en rojo, okay? That's the way we learn. Oh, that's the way I learned it, right? And for me, it's the way I learn. It's important that you guys identify how you work, how you learn, cómo ustedes aprenden, all right? Para hacerlo. So it has the living room, only two, right? Only two sections. The living room and the bathroom. Bedroom, yeah. And the next and the least, but well, the last topic is idiomatic expressions. That's another interesting topic because there's no translation for it. No hay traducción para eso, right? You just have to learn it. Okay. So, for example, we have what is an idiomatic expression? For example, in Colombia, we say, pongámonos la casa de Ruana, right? Son expresiones idiomáticas que no se pueden traducir al inglés, right? Pues literalmente, right? No podemos decir, put the Ruana, whatever. Yeah, no. Nadie lo entendería, right? So it means that in English, of course, they have idiomatic expressions. Tienen expresiones idiomáticas. Que si usted intenta traducirlas directamente, pues you're gonna get lost. And it wouldn't be the right way to do it. Entonces, what are the idiomatic expressions? So, for example, we have the one here, to get your own house in order. To get your own house in order. So you have the meaning and you have the example. So pay attention to your own problems before criticizing other people, right? So these are idiomatic expressions, very common idiomatic expressions in English. It would be nice that you guys take a look, okay, to them and kind of understand the whole meaning of it. What is an idiomatic expression? Now, to be on the house, to be free in a restaurant, to be free in a restaurant. So the next round of drinks is on the house. Va por la casa. Bueno, parecido al español, right? Everything but the kitchen sink. What? Meaning is to take a lot of things when you go somewhere, right? So, example, she took everything but the kitchen sink when we went on vacations. Ese sí no, pues yo diría que no hay nada en español que se parezca. Como el kitchen sink es el lavaplatos de la cocina. Yeah, so those are idiomatic expressions, guys, that we can understand by just reading them. Viéndolos dice, ay, yo creo que esto traduce, no. Eso hay que aprenderlo. Right? To have a skeleton in the closet. To have a skeleton in the closet. Imagínense, ¿qué podría significar eso? Raro, right? Armchair critic. Armchair critic. Basket case. Basket case significa a crazy person. Right? Wet blanket, someone who spoils other people's fun. El aguafiestas. El aguafiestas en inglés se dice wet blanket. Now, next, it says burn the candle at both ends. Burn the candle at both ends. It says to exhaust yourself by doing too much. Okay. Roll out the red carpet to give special treatment to an important visitor. To an important visitor is the word novaki. Couch potato. Someone who spends too much time sitting at home watching television, right? So these are the idiomatic expressions, guys. I think these are the most common idiomatic expressions used by English speakers, right? It's important that you guys take a look at them at least once, al menos una vez, para entender in general, like a general meaning of it, okay? And then we have the contextualization. So, questions. questions? Questions. Yes. ¿Alguien activó el micrófono? The microphone. Esto está en el material de apoyo. Listo. Recuerden que para mí lo más importante es explicarles la gramática. ¿Por qué? Porque el vocabulario sí depende 100% de ustedes, guys. Está presentado, está en el material y ahí está. No hay forma en que yo le haga aprender el vocabulario aquí, revisándolo una sola vez. No. You just have to do it, guys. It's your responsibility. Okay? So, that is basically the topics that I wanted to introduce you about. I want you guys to tell information. Well, but most of it is vocabulary. I mean, phrasal verbs is vocabulary furniture, vocabulary, idiomatic expressions that you just guys, there is no way to explain. O sea, es que no necesita explicación, right? It doesn't mean any explanation. So now, which are the evidences for this activity? Only two to hand in, okay? To hand in to the teacher. I just have to hand in two evidences plus the interactive activity, right? Which you guys know how it already works, how the system works, right? Now, the first evidence is Colombian cultural ambassador. So let's go to the Colombian cultural ambassador. So it says here, for this evidence, you need to choose, sorry, you need to choose 8 Colombian idiomatic expressions. 8. Van a buscar 8 expresiones idiomáticas colombianas. Es que imagínense que ni siquiera a veces depende del idioma, sino del país, right? Lo que a veces decimos acá no lo entienden en España, right? So it happens. So Colombian idiomatic expressions and describe what they mean in such a way that a foreigner can understand them. So it's basically what we have as the support material. Es básicamente lo que tenemos acá en los últimos, es esto, right? You have to give the meaning, you have to explain what it means, como si le estuvieran explicando a un extranjero, and also you have to give an example. Pero ¿cuántos son? Son solamente 8. No tiene que ser toda esta lista que está ahí, sino solamente 8. Por ejemplo, expression, ser uña y mugre con alguien, right? Example, mi tío Pedro y mi mamá son uña y mugre. How do you have to explain that? This expression is used to refer to 2 people who like to spend lots of time together and enjoy each other's company. They are each other's sidekick or partner in crime. De pronto pueden ver si hay algo parecido que se diga en inglés. Right? It would be very nice. Son solamente 8. It's up to you guys cómo lo hacen. Si lo hacen en cuadrito o si lo hacen, bueno, como me lo quieran presentar, basically. Okay, son solamente 8. Now, after that, you guys do the interactive activity, and then we go to the tiny house movement. Tiny house movement, ¿qué significa? In this evidence, you have to go online, okay, deben ir a Google, and find information about the tiny house movement, movimiento de las casas pequeñas. Now, you have to tell me what is it about, right? Debemos hacer un video. You have to make a video describing like what is it about, what are the advantages and the disadvantages it has, right? ¿Cuáles son las ventajas y las desventajas que tiene, que encuentran? How does it relate to furniture and appliances? En esta evidencia donde ustedes me van a mostrar cómo No. You guys have to tell me, pues mostrar un poco de lo que aprendieron sobre el vocabulario de furniture. Yeah? Based, how does it relate to furniture and appliances? Based on the information you gather, you should record a video expressing your opinion about it. Now, para el video, por favor, necesito que empiece con su nombre. Okay, hello, my name is always. My name is blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to tell you the information about the tiny house movement. Okay, y sacan pues sus ideas principales, no es necesario pues que lean, ¿no? Sus ideas principales, lo que considera, what is it about, las ventajas, las desventajas, mencionar, you can mention 2 or 3 things about the furniture vocabulary that you guys have in the material, and that's it. And that's it. It's in the video there should include, at least 7 idiomatic expressions, Jesus, and 15 phrasal verbs. Y acá hay un ejemplo. You have an example here. Jesus Christ. Okay, so you need to be very creative by what expressions or what is information that you guys are going to tell in the video. Okay.
Yes.
And that's it, guys. Those are the evidences. Those are the
Una
evidences.
pregunta.
Yes, Pablo.
Las evidencias de lo que tenemos que hacer es la de tiny house movement, que es lo que vamos a hacer.
Es un video.
¿No se graba audio?
No, es un video.
Bueno, ya que debo hablarlo de la casa.
Yes, el movimiento Tiny House Movement, que es un movimiento que está pegando ahora mucho, right? Que está pegando mucho sobre las casas pequeñas. Ahorita la gente quiere vivir en casas pequeñas. Entonces, you have to tell the advantages, the disadvantages, telling the using idiomatic expressions and using phrasal verbs.
Bueno, ¿hablo lo de mi apartamento o solo casas?
Del movimiento, Pablo. Tienes que mirar qué significa el movimiento y ahí vas a entender de qué se trata la evidencia. Listo, es un movimiento, es como si fuera una tendencia.
Bueno, y la otra evidencia, la de cultura Colombia, ambasador, ¿qué personas debo escoger?
¿Personas? No, debes escoger expresiones idiomáticas colombianas y tratarlas de explicar a un extranjero. Como por ejemplo, no se me ocurre una expresión idiomática.
Sofía y Ana son con pinches, un ejemplo. Pues.
Eso, ¿qué significa con pinche? Uña y mugre. ¿Sí?
Es similar.
Entonces, uña y mugre. Entonces tú dices, ay, ¿cómo le explico yo esto a una extranjera? Entonces es como si hicieras un pequeño diccionario con 8 palabras, 8 expresiones, perdón, y se las fueras a pasar como un extranjero explicándole qué significan en Colombia estas expresiones.
Bueno, ¿y la interactiva?
Y la interactiva, entras y miras, sigues los pasos.
Sí.
Te invito a que lo hagas.
Entonces, grabar el video de lo que debo hablar, lo de las casas.
Sí, eso. Pero revisa primero qué es the Tiny House Movement. Primero revisa esto qué significa. ¿Listo?
Bueno.
¿Listo?
Gracias.
Bueno, you're welcome.
Teacher, la reflection activity, ¿esa cuál era?
Reflection. Reflection activity es estudiar el material.
Ok, listo.
Siempre aparece reflection activity, es que es como la sección donde ustedes estudian el material. Me dicen que modismos y expresiones idiomáticas, pues yo ya no me acuerdo cuáles son los modismos. Bueno.
Teacher, pues hay un modismo que dice, un ejemplo, bajo el clima, la pelota está en tu tejado. Pues yo tengo unos ejemplos ahí de modismo, más o menos así, como son ejemplos, son frases como de ejemplos. The
Pero
ball
entonces,
is your court. La pelota está en tu tejado, más o menos.
el término modismo es en una noción etimológica proviene la palabra.
Hay otro ejemplo que tengo yo, pues, you sat on the fence, se sentó en la cerca.
Pero esos son modismos en inglés.
Ah, en español.
Sí, para yo entender que sí, o sea, sí es lo mismo una expresión idiomática o modismo. A ver, dice, son expresiones del habla popular cuyo significado se interpreta generalmente en el sentido figurado. Sí, mira, modismo, ¿qué significa? ¿Qué es un modismo? Son expresiones del habla popular cuyo significado se interpreta generalmente en el sentido figurado. O sea, no es literal, en el sentido figurado. Entonces podemos decir que un modismo y una expresión idiomática es lo mismo, semánticamente hablando. Listo, Jesslyn, que sí es lo mismo, igual, no problem. Sabemos que también son expresiones, idiomatic expressions. Guys, more questions. Do you have extra questions for me?
Teacher,
Yes.
en la evidencia de las casas, ¿cómo se empezaría a hacer el video? Toca colocar, es que no tengo como dudas en esa.
Y la duda es que ¿cómo empezarías el video?
Sí, profe.
Pues el requisito número 1 es primero hablando pues sobre ti. Hello, my name is, siempre. Para tener claridad.
Presentations.
Yes, like no,
Presentations.
but very short. Like my name is Camila, and I'm presenting the kind of movement evidence. Entonces, acá hay un ejemplo. En ese pequeño discurso, el requisito es que debes usar 7 idiomatic expressions, 7 expresiones idiomáticas. Esas las vamos a buscar en internet y las vamos a tratar de acomodar sobre las casas, ¿cierto? O sea, como sobre lo que tú quieres decir acerca de ese movimiento. Entonces, living off the grid sounds very appealing. Living off the grid significa como vivir fuera de lo común, como fuera dentro de los esquemas de la cultura normalmente. Entonces, living off sounds very appealing. Even more so if we reflect on the exorbitant price real estate has in Bogotá. ¿Sí? Vean que acá está idiomatic expression y acá está el phrasal verb. Deben construir ese pequeño discurso. Yo sé que 7 son muchos, bajémosle a 5, no problem, bajémosle a 5 porque es que encontrar idiomatic expressions para acomodarlas dentro de algo específico es complicado. Entonces bajémosle a 5 idiomatic expressions y 10 phrasal verbs. Claro que los phrasal verbs sí de pronto son más fáciles de ubicar. Listo. Laura.
Sí, profe, solamente sería escrito, audio no.
Sí, es un video.
Con texto nomás.
Es un video donde tú me cuentes, me hables sobre el movimiento, usando 5 idiomatic expressions y 10 phrasal verbs.
Thank you, teacher.
Listo, you're welcome. ¿Quién más tiene alguna duda para mí, por favor? ¿No? Good. Recuerden los canales de comunicación, recuerden que tienen el correo, recuerden que tienen el foro de dudas e inquietudes para resolver todas estas cosas. ¿Listo? Great. Thank you, guys. Muchas gracias por venir. Un beso, un abrazo para todos. Excelente semana.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you.
Thank you, teacher.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you later. I'm gonna
Okay,
stop.
teacher, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I'm gonna stop recording. Yes.